So you join me this morning at Darlington railway station on the East Coast Main Line, and honestly Darlington is just an absolute beautiful railway station. But today's video is going to carry on my East Coast Main Line challenge as I visit every single station on the East Coast Main Line between London, King's Cross and Edinburgh Waverley, and today's video is going to take me from Darlington to Morpeth. So my original plan was to leave Darlington at 09:38 on a Transpennine Express service to the next station. But this London North Eastern Railway service was running 7 minutes late. I was supposed to leave Darlington at 09:10, but it left at 09:17, so I'm catching this one instead. This is going to Edinburgh Waverley, but my next station I'm stopping off at is Durham. So I have now made it to the first railway station I'm stopping off at today as I head towards Morpeth. This is Durham. I actually remember the last time I was here at Durham because a big massive fire broke out and you could see that fire from the railway station. That was an eventful day, that, to be honest. But the one thing I do like about visiting Durham station is right next door to the station, because you've got Durham Viaduct and you do get some lovely views of the trains passing over the viaduct as they enter the station. Or speed through as well. So I'll just come outside the railway station for a second to take a look at the magnificent Durham Viaduct. And honestly, that is an impressive viaduct. The first time I've seen that as well. It dates from 1857, was built by Thomas Elliott Harrison for the North Eastern Railway. It's 790 metres long, 100 metres tall, and also it has 11 arches, but that viaduct is just absolutely magnificent. I've crossed it so many times, but that's the first time seeing it from ground level. There was 4 railway stations in Darlington, but I'm only going to be focusing on this one right here. This station opened on the 1st of April 1857 by the North Eastern Railway. It also used to be a junction station for services towards Lanchester on that branch line, and also services to Bishop Auckland, which actually carried on to Darlington. It was more of a loop line, but those lines have long since closed. But the line towards Darlington by Bishop Auckland, you can play that on Trains Later Classic. To be honest, Durham is a very nice place. I wouldn't mind coming back here to just have explore this place one day. But I've got to move on to the next railway station, and the next railway station is Chester Street. Now it's going to be a bit awkward today, not as awkward as some stations coming up in this series, but because I've got to have a 2-hour wait at Chester Street. So I'm getting the next Transpennine Express service, which is running 13 minutes late. So our train should be arriving any time now, and let's go to Chester Street.
We'll shortly be arriving at Chester Street.
So we have now made it to the next railway station on the East Coast Main Line. This is Chester Street between Durham and Newcastle. And honestly, it's a very nice station and location on the East Coast Main Line. Unfortunately though, during off-peak, this has only got a 2-hourly service with Transpennine Express. That's why I have to have 2 hours at Chester Street, but to be honest, it's a bit less than that right now. Also, I did try to ask my friend who's also on YouTube, Alex Dodds, who I've known for a very long time, if he was available for today. But unfortunately he wasn't, but it would be nice to meet up with Alex Dodds one day. Now the railway through Chester Street was opened in March 1868 as part of the North Eastern Railway's Tyne Valley line. However though, it wasn't ready for passengers, so from March to December 1868 only freight trains were allowed to use this line, but Chester Street Station did open on the 1st of December 1868 to passengers. Also, Chester Street does have a very nice station building I don't think it's in railway use anymore, but you do get that station building on Train Simulator Classic as well. So I was just having a walk around Chester Street to kill some time. I've just come across this lovely viaduct that's right behind me. This is Chester Burn Viaduct. It opened in 1868 by Benjamin Carl Lawton under the supervision of Thomas Elliott Harrison, who built Durham Viaduct. Now this viaduct is 750 feet long and 90 feet high, but that is a lovely viaduct to see. Unfortunately though, I've got to get back to the next railway station to catch my train, the 1301 Transpennine Express service to Newcastle, because the next station is Newcastle Central, or Newcastle. We have now arrived at station number 3 as we make our way towards Morpeth. This is Newcastle Central, or just Newcastle. But Newcastle is an absolute magnificent station. It's just wonderful to look at. And every single passenger train does stop at Newcastle. Apart from the freight, they actually speed through Newcastle. Now, to be honest, there's a lot of history with the railways in the Newcastle area, but we shall be brief with Newcastle Central Station. It opened on the 29th of August 1850 by the Newcastle and Carlisle Railway and the York, Newcastle and Berwick Railway. When it was opened, it was actually named Newcastle on Tyne Central. Now, the North Eastern Railway did enlarge the station in the 1890s as it extended the station platforms. And in 1981, the Tyne Wear Metro began operations at Central Station with the 2 platforms underneath Newcastle Central Station. Now, as I head towards Morpeth, the remainder of the journey shall be taken with Northern, because the next 3 stations that I'm stopping off at are operated by Northern. So I'm waiting for the 1459 Northern service to my next station. Now, I could take the Tyne Wear Metro to it, but this is the East Coast Mainline series. But the next station I'm visiting is the least used station in Tyne Wear. It's Manors, and mind your manners. So we have now arrived at the next railway station as I'm heading towards Morpeth. And this railway station is a great train spotting location. And it's also the least used station in the Tyne Wear. This is Manors. And honestly, we did arrive at Manors 10 minutes late because the original train that was supposed to come from Carlisle never came, because there was a fatality that's happened between Newcastle and Carlisle. So what they've done is they managed to get a train. Now the train actually came from the Ashington line, because they're currently doing driver training with the units. This video was filmed before the opening of the Northumberland line, which did open on the 15th of December 2024, with Ashington and Seaton Delaval opening. And once that got into Newcastle, that formed the next service, the 1459 to Morpeth. We still made it to Manors, even though we got here about 10 minutes late. And there's quite a bit of history about this railway station. The first station opened on the 1st of July 1847 by the York, Newcastle and Berwick Railway. That was a temporary station until the permanent station opened in 1850. Now, Manors Station in 1909 was actually renamed to Manors East Station, because just over here there was another railway station, and that railway station was called Manors North, which was opened by the Blyth and Tyne Railway. And you can still see some of the platforms at Manors North that's still situated, even though it's a disused station now. Now in 1969, both stations were actually merged and the whole station was just called Manors. But in 1978, the Manors North platforms closed, and in the 1980s the Tyne Wear metro platforms, which is right next door to Manors Station, opened as part of the Tyne Wear metro. So before we go to the next railway station, I've got a confession to make, because when I've been here in the past, I honestly thought that the line towards Ashington was going to leave at Morpeth, but I was totally wrong. Because just north of Manors Station there's a junction called Benton North Junction, and that's where the Ashington line will be diverting off the East Coast Main Line at. But we shall be leaving Manors on the 1607 Northern service to our penultimate station, Cramlington. So we have now reached the penultimate station. This is Cramlington. It's a nice little station on the East Coast Main Line operated by Northern, and it only gets hourly service between Newcastle and Morpeth. It's just your bog standard unstaffed station, but the good thing about this station is it's on platform 2. There's a lovely stone waiting shelter on platform 2. That is lovely to see at Cramlington. Now there is a question I do want to ask about Cramlington Station, but before I ask that question, it opened on the 1st of July 1847 by the Newcastle and Berwick Railway. Now there is plans to relocate this station 200 yards south to a retail park and a shopping centre, because the Northumberland County Council and Senrug, which is a local rail group, want this station resited to a new location. And here's my question that I want to ask about this railway station and the proposals about this new railway station for Cramlington. What's going on with it? Because every time I come to Cramlington, it seems like there's nothing happening about these proposals to move this railway station. So I'm going to head back over to platform 2 now, because I'm waiting for my final train. And this train will take me to Morpeth because it terminates at Morpeth. It arrives at 17:21, so I'm going to head over now and let's head to the final station of the day. So we have now reached the final station I'm stopping off at to take a look at today. This is Morpeth, and honestly it's a lovely station on the East Coast Main Line. Most northern services do terminate here apart from a few, but also limbo do call here with their services from Edinburgh Waverley to London King's Cross, and there's also a few Transpennine Express, London North Eastern Railway and cross-country services do call at Morpeth Station as well. The station building is magnificent. It's in a Scottish baronial style building and it's lovely to see. But my favourite part is actually the southern end of Morpeth Station, just right behind me here. This is the infamous Morpeth Curve, and trains do have to take that curve at 50 miles per hour because in the past there has been a few derailments on that curve, and that's why the speed is 50 miles per hour, because that curve is so tight. But the one thing I do like about that curve is you can get some good shots of trains passing on that curve. Morpeth Station was opened on the 1st of March 1847 by the Newcastle and Berwick Railway. A correction as well, Cramlington was also opened on the same day, which I do apologise. Now right next door to Morpeth Station was another railway station which the Blythburn Tyne Railway built, which opened in 1858 but that closed in 1880. And also the North British Railway had a line from Morpeth to Reedsmouth on the Borders County line, which went by a Scots Gap. Now, travelling between Darlington and Morpeth today on the East Coast Main Line has really been interesting, and those viaducts we see were very last minute. I did not have plans to include those viaducts in today's video, but they were lovely to see. All the stations were lovely to see that we visited, and honestly the East Coast Main Line is just beautiful, this part of the network. But the reason I'm at Morpeth is because there is some services from Northern that do extend towards Chat Hill, and the next video is going to look at those 4 awkward stations on the Chat Hill line. But for now I'm going to put another East Coast Main Line video right here. Feel free to give that a click. The people on screen now YouTube channel is Patreon supporters. Thank you for supporting the channel. I've been SimOnTrains. Thanks for watching. I'll see you for those 4 awkward stations on the East Coast Main Line.